This is TWiT.
To some degree, probably because of Adam Smith, I feel like our system is, and because of our court system, our system is based around advocacy and everybody arguing their own best interest. And then we somehow, if it works, come to some solution that is a good compromise. I don't know if that's worked in the last few years, but it's worked in the past. Let me ask you about this, Cathy, because you're probably right on the cusp of this one. You know, Facebook's been running these ads lately, essentially saying, yeah, you got to fix 230. They're not acting.
Nothing nice to say about their ad campaign.
Yeah, they're not. I
Nothing.
mean, I'm trying to figure out who the message is for. Is it for politically active people who watch football games who might write to their member of Congress? Is it for Congress? I don't think it's probably very well targeted. But
it's so dumb. It's dumb for them and it's dumb for the ecosystem. It makes them a terrible neighbor. But I think the reason that they thought it might be a good idea, and I don't want to, it isn't a good idea, but the reason they might have thought so is there's a certain bit where the tech in general, because it's such a regulatory target at the moment, has sort of a political problem, which is, you know, all these ideas are coming at them and they're all kind of terrible. But if you just say no, then everyone thinks you don't look like you care, you don't like what you're playing. So I think they tried to say, like, here's a bone that we're throwing, look, we're trying to play, blah, blah, blah. So I think they were trying to, like, look, you know, it's a campaign to make them look like they're not recalcitrant. They actually, like, care about their impact and stuff like that. And I think it's trying to rehabilitate the perception that not necessarily the public has, but although maybe that a little bit, but that Congress has about it. Like they're not popular there. But it's a terrible idea. I don't think they really understand just how flammable the fire is that they're playing with doing this. What they're calling for won't help them, will hurt them in ways that I don't think they're quite calculating, but they're best positioned to weather those regulatory winds, and it will devastate the rest of the ecosystem. So a lot of people look at it very cynically. I don't know if I share it, but I think it's credible to look at it this way, which is, you know, we think that Facebook might be too big and has some anti-competitive tendencies. This kind of looks like another one of those anti-competitive tendencies. Bingo. Because it looks like, let's call for regulation that'll obliterate her and we'll be fine. I don't think they will be as fine as they think, but, you know, that might be motivating them, and that isn't good either, because it will be so devastating to the ecosystem, whether they realize it or not.
Right, Cathy? I mean, it's a case of regulatory capture. It's we'll be fine and the others won't be.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's poor regulatory capture because I don't think it's effective for them either. Okay. But that is a read of it, and that is a plausible read, even if it's not actually what's motivating them. I mean, I do think the bit about the PR and the rehabilitate and trying to look like they're a team player with regulators is probably the big thing, but the effect of it will be so devastating, and what a shame if we happen to lose our competition. So yeah, maybe the cynicism isn't misplaced.
How sick do you get? You and Mike Masnick and Jeff Kossoff, plus Daphne Keller and Kate Klonick are all my heroes.
The tech right there at the crew, top. Okay.
Well, and more.
Yeah.
Those are the defenders of internet freedoms versus the idiots about 230. How sick do you get of going over the same territory with people?
You know, I have to be more patient than my personality necessarily accounts for, because I think that part of the problem is there's a lot of political pressure on Congress, and I've talked to some people on the Hill, and they're kind of like, look, we get it. We understand that changing Section 230 is bad, but we have all these people who are looking at, like, you know, bad stuff that seems to be happening because the internet enables bad stuff to happen, and people are saying, do something about it. And they're like, how can we go back to our constituency and not do something? You know, we need to be able to do something, or else we won't get reelected because we look like we're unresponsive. So I think the key is, my goal, and I'm happy to be here on this program because it kind of is a step towards meeting that end, which is, I think we have to talk to people who are not the experts. I mean, I think people who are in the space, how sick do I get? The people who should know better, not knowing better, that's really annoying. But regular people who don't spend their days thinking about law, thinking about tech, they have political will. This is a democracy. They can choose the laws that regulate them. So how do you educate them so they can ask for good things? And I think that's the key, to talk to lay audiences for whom there's trusted people that they can believe, to say, let me understand this a little bit better, because then when they call their members of Congress, they will ask for things that are actually more useful than just do something, burn it all down. What do I care? I hear Section 230 is bad. You might as well get rid of it. And how dare you not? That's not a good position. And so we can back up Congress if ultimately we can change the political conversation so that we're asking them to give us better laws instead of ruining the good ones that we already have.
Amen.
If I were in government relations at Facebook, I might do exactly what they're doing, which is to say, pretend you care, show that you care, and kind of not worry, because government has a lot of other things to worry about, much more important, and it doesn't seem to be very effective at getting anything done anyway. So what's the chance of you getting in trouble,
I mean, I also, it's a huge company with a ton of people. And one of the things that I think is not part of our policy discussions enough is, how do you steer a big company like that? You've got a lot of people, you've got a lot of smart people, you've probably got a couple idiots as well. And how do you steer that, where I know there's good people, I know there's principled people, I know there's people who would really like to direct the company to be a good corporate citizen. I know there's people who would like them to push for good policy. There's probably also some cynical people, and then there's some people who are well-meaning and also wrong, and they're all there, and they're all trying to, they've all got an oar, but the boat can go in circles. How do you actually make that company steer as a coherent ship? Great. You could write PhDs about organizational theory about how do these companies manage themselves when you've got all this talent, and that it's so unwieldy. And so, Facebook is unique because so much goes to that C-suite where just a couple of people have a lot of control. And this is not great when they are missing the point. We talked earlier that we think Mark Zuckerberg really doesn't intuit enough what the effect is of his product in the space that he's in. But on the other hand, maybe that's good when the corporate structure does know, because you've got a single point of contact that can create a coherent voice. Right now, you've got a really weird hierarchy where you've got a couple of people who can actually make the decisions, but an awful lot of other talent who might want to direct things, but they may not all agree on which direction they should be directing things either. So I don't entirely know how we fix it, but we should understand that that's a dynamic. And when we deal with Facebook, to understand what it is that we're dealing with, because it's not necessarily the cult of a personality. It's something more complex than that.